Hello everyone. Today let us learn a very interesting and informative topic in English language, which is figures of speech. Figures of speech are very important for communicating in the society. They give more accurate descriptions. A language that has other meaning than its normal meaning refers to the figure of speech. Friends, in order to understand in a very simple and easy way the different names, that is the basic elements of the types of figures of speech, you need to remember the word shampoo. As you can see here, S stands for simile, H hyperbole, A alliteration, M metaphor, P personification, O oxymoron, and O onomatopoeia. In fact, there are around 25 figures of speech, but today we will be learning about basic 13 types of figures of speech, which includes these 7. Figures of speech play a huge role in English language, making it more creative, expressive, and interesting, and normally it is used as a poetic device. Come on, now let us understand step by step the different basic 13 types of figures of speech. The first is simile. As you all have studied in the lower classes, simile shows comparison. For example, as cold as ice, or you can say as crystal as clear as crystal. So wherever you see the words like as, like, or so in a poetic stanza, then that means that it is showing comparison. Here the examples show, I make a great noise of rustling all day like rabbit and deer. Here noise is compared to rabbit and deer, and here, as you all can see, the word like is used. That's why this line refers to the figure of speech called simile. The next figure of speech, that is metaphor. This is somewhat equal, or we can say not equivalent to the figure of speech that is simile. Some students get confused between simile and metaphor. In fact, both the figure of speech is used for comparison, but you need to understand that in metaphor we do not use the words like as or so or like, then too the comparison is being found. For example, he is the Hitler of the school. Here you can see that there is no word like as or like in the sentence, but still the statement says that he is compared to the Hitler. Moving ahead, I would say these 4 figures of speech are really very interesting and very easy to understand. The third, that is repetition. The word itself tells you that if any words are repeated in the poetic stanza or a line, then it is repetition. For example, rain, rain, go away, or work, work, and work are the keys to success. So you must have clearly understood that here the word work is repeated thrice, and in the above the rain is repeated twice. So this line refers to the figure of speech repetition. Then moving on, there is alliteration. This resembles to the consonant sounds which are repeated in the sentence, and more importantly it gives a musical effect to the poem. For example, can you keep the cat? So here the consonant sounds, if you pay attention to the ka and ka, that is can and cat, resembles the alliteration sound. So that is the sound of the vowel a. So that's why the figure of speech is alliteration. And the above, as it can also be considered as a tongue twister, she sells seashells on the seashore. So here sh and sir, that sounds are repeated, so this line refers to the figure of speech called alliteration. The fifth one is interrogation. The word itself tells you that sometimes when the poet raises a question in the poetic stanza to express his feelings or ask a question or to express the curiosity to know something, then that determines the interrogation. For example, when will it rain? I do not know. So he is worried, or sometimes he is asking that when will it rain. So the question mark itself tells you that this line is about interrogation, figure of speech. The next is exclamation. The word itself tells you that exclamation conveys strong feelings of expressions, and these expressions may be of joy, sorrow, excitement, and that's why the name is given as exclamation for the figure of speech. For instance, oh, what a beautiful dress. Here, this sentence talks about an excitement, the feeling of wonder with an exclamation mark. So, the figure of speech, we can say it is an exclamation. Internal rhyme. Internal rhyme is one of the most interesting figure of speech, where the word rhyme itself tells that if you find any words rhyming in the sentence or in a stanza of the poem, then the figure of speech is known as internal rhyme. For example, the cattle fought a battle. So here the two words rhyme to each other, that is cattle and battle. Similarly, my unusual style will confuse you a while. So your style and while are the rhyming words. That's why it tells you about the figure of speech, which is internal rhyme. The next figure of speech is personification. The word person, the word itself, person, from the word personification, talks about the human action, the feelings or emotions which is given to the non-living objects. That means if any non-living object is given the human quality, that means it personifies, and that's why the figure of speech is personification. For example, lightning danced across the sky. Here, if you focus on the word lightning, in actually lightning does not dance. It is the human beings who dance. But here, lightning is given the human quality of dancing across the sea. And that's why when any non-living object is given the human quality, then that figure of speech is personification. The next is litotes. This is very interesting again and very important. In this, sometimes the poet or the line wants to convey a positive idea by making it negative. That means if you find a negative negation in a sentence, but it tells you, it conveys a positive idea, then that figure of speech is litotes. For example, Mr. Shah is no fool. Here, no fool means that he is intelligent. So here, the negative word is expressed in a positive way, telling that Mr. Shah is intelligent. So it is litotes. The ice cream was not too bad. Similarly, this tells that the ice cream was very delicious and yummy. So not is a negative word to express in a positive way, telling that it is very yummy and lip smacking. The next figure of speech is hyperbole. Hyperbole exaggerates your ideas and expressions to give more emphasis. That means sometimes when you say I love you till the ocean, that means you're exaggerating and you're giving more emphasis to your feelings. The other examples tells that I could sleep for an year, I was so tired. In fact, no one sleeps for a year, but you're exaggerating your tiredness and expressing in a way of emphasizing it, telling that you would sleep for a year. And that's why this tells you about hyperbole. The next figure of speech is oxymoron. This is very interesting, wherein you find two contradictory elements in a statement to give a poetic effect. For example, ups and downs of life, small, giant. When you use two opposite words to give the meaning to the sentence, that is known as oxymoron. For example, should without eyes see pathways. Now, here you can see that without eyes, how you can see. So, this is the oxymoron that is given a contradictory or opposite effect. And the last figure of speech for today's topic, basic figures of speech, is onomatopoeia. It refers to the word that resembles a mimicry sound of the thing that it describes. For example, jingling of the bells, like bow wow, the watchdogs bark. So, any sound which it resembles and giving a poetic effect, that figure of speech is onomatopoeia. So, friends, these are the basic figures of speech for English language that everyone needs to learn. And in order to remember, you need to understand and remember one important word, which is shampoo. Here I have given a few sentences for you all to figure it out. Hope you enjoyed the session.